So let's talk about this Senator Natasha Akpoti versus Akpabio's issue. Now this is the first video I'm making. I'm going to do another comprehensive one. But this is not really about me. I'm trying to lay the background for what is going on and what are the things we should really know. Because I know a whole lot of people have been running commentaries all over the place. So I am bringing you a video of Honorable West Idahosa, S-A-N, one of the people who wrote the other book that Akpabio and the National Assembly, the Senate, are using, that they are talking about. So let's listen to him.
The Senate done anything wrong against Senator Akpoti Uduaghan?
Well, to start with, I think that they have not just wronged Uduaghan, they've wronged Nigeria. The reason is simple. We all know that a few days ago, maybe 2 days ago or so, the court order was served on the Senate of Nigeria. The committee in charge of ethics and so on and so forth. And that there was proof of service. I mean, this was flying on the social media, and everyone saw it. They got a substituted order to serve on the Senate through the office of the clerk. This was done. And then, in spite of this, you didn't sit down, you didn't rush a committee report, and then the person who is accused and who was likely to suffer from a suspension order was not even present. And so, in one breath, there was no fair hearing. You never heard the other side, in line with the provisions of the Constitution, Section 36. In the other breath, you disobeyed flagrantly a court order. And then you turn around to say, oh, the judiciary is not strong enough, the judiciary should improve, when we are the very ones, by this behavior, undermining judicial institutions in this country. Honestly, if I were the judge and the appropriate applications are made before me, I will go very far to make that point strong. Now let's come back to the rules. They made so much noise about the rules. We wrote these rules.
Rule 60, Rule 40, we reviewed, Rule 20. There are a few sections of...
We reviewed the rules in 1999. I was the first to lay down the reviewed rules. It was what I laid that I sent to the Senate for them to use. It's not changed. They've just changed, increased committees, a few here and there. Now, the Senate President allocates the seat. The dispute arose from the allocation of seat. Now, once it is the Senate President that allocates a seat and the senator complains about a right to a seat, it's a privilege, because the right to be in the Senate is by election and a certificate of return. Do not forget, you and I cannot go there. So once she raises that point, it is a duty under Order 10, the famous Order 10 she was shouting about, of the presiding officer to have suspended all other matters. I consider that a very serious issue, and taking her complaint and make a formal ruling. But if you watch the proceedings on that day, as the distinguished senator was shouting Order 10, Order 10, I already heard the presiding officer talking about prepare her for suspension. Review the tape. We've seen it. You were already preparing her for suspension even before you...
So was it fake accompli?
Oh yeah, it was completely...
They decided our fate even long before the ethics committee was even...
It was predetermined. And then beyond that, the question was, at the time they went to court, the issue was that there was a thinking, a suspicion that she might be suspended. That was why she went to court. If you don't stop them, they will do it. And then they did it in spite of receiving the order. Now, I said to them, they were wrong. Section 4, subsection 8 of the Constitution is clear. In the conduct of his legislative powers and duties, their conduct shall be subject to the judiciary.
So you can actually, another arm of government can stop the activities of another arm of government.
Look, can I just take it briefly?
So the judiciary, the court can stop the activities that goes on in the chamber. I imagine that the activities within the chamber, there is some level of immunity to the procedure and the activities of lawmakers within the chamber.
As long as the activities do not obstruct the due process of law. I mean, once the Senate is in session, it is carrying out legislative business. whether it is about a seat, whether it's about a breach of privilege, whether it is about passing the law, whether it's about passing a motion. It's all but don't bother on legislative privilege. And so when the Constitution of Nigeria says that the National Assembly's duties shall be subject to the jurisdiction of the courts, shall, it means it. And that's why they run to court each time they are suspended. Chinda was there. Ndume was there.
And I was going to reference the case of Omar Agege. It was a rested case in the court.
Yes.
The case of Aline Ndume. They all went to court.
Dino Melaye.
Dino Melaye.
Yes.
These are cases that have been decided by our
Correct.
court. In that case, there is an underlying factor that the courts
I've talked about.
For
For example, most courts are of the view that you can't suspend a sitting senator or lawmaker of any legislative body more than 14 days, interpreting the Legislative Powers and Privileges Act.
But so there is an establishment that the Senate or the National Assembly, when there is a quorum and there is a sitting, can suspend one of their own.
Oh, yeah,
established, by their own rules.
Definite.
But in the court, as at the famous case of Senator Omar Agege,
Yes.
that you cannot suspend for more than 14 days.
Correct. And not only that, you can also not suspend without hearing the other party.
Honorable West Idahosa there. Before you argue, maybe you didn't hear properly. He's the first person to lay down this rule book that they are talking about. So, you can't claim to know more than him. You can't. Doing that will be trying to be more Catholic than the Pope. The problem here in Nigeria is that we don't read, we don't even think, we just carry things. There are things that push us beyond the fact. There are no rational thinking. Go and get these things. A lot of all these things that you people argue and display ignorance about, they are all there in the internet. Your smartphones, most of you, your smartphone seems to be smarter than you. There are key things he said there. Key things. He said the Senate didn't just wrong Senator Natasha, that they wronged Nigerians. He went ahead to say that if any senator raised order number 10, the presiding officer, which is the Senate president, is supposed to stop every other thing and listen to her because it's a matter of privilege. But did Akpabio do that? No. If you go and then he said something else, that it was predetermined. I have reviewed the video myself. The video is out there. If you are sincere with yourself, go and listen to it. He was already telling them to prepare. Akpabio was telling them to go and prepare her suspension. That is not democracy. That is absolute abuse of power. So they didn't give the woman a chance. So before you start condemning or let me tell you one sincere truth. A country that will pay, that will pay you, that you will enjoy, every one of us will enjoy. It's not the one that, it's our tribesman that is president or that is anything. It's not the one that, he's from our religion. It's not the one that, is from our party. No. It's the society where things are done, where everybody, the rule of law is respected, where you can be able to stand up at any time and say, yes, this is this, and the institution that is responsible will listen to you. I have stood up in a law court in Germany to defend myself. I refuse to accept to collect any lawyer. And let me tell you something. Even in Germany, if you don't have money to get a lawyer, you will get a lawyer, the government will pay. But I refused. And they gave me a paper to sign that, are you sure you know what you are doing? I said, yes, I know. Because at that time, I was angry with everybody. I said, yes, I know. I stood and I defended myself against trained lawyers, German trained lawyers. And I won the case at the end of the day. In fact, jokingly, the judge told me, Mr. Samuel Omogo, you should go study to officially become a lawyer. And I I won. And it happened like that because the system is working. And Nigeria will not work just because your tribesman is president or whatever is governor or anything. Or you are a Muslim, the president is a Muslim, or the Senate president is this. No, it will not happen. So when anything is happening, take your time, really. Remove all these ethno-religious and party political prejudices out of it and look at the issue the way it is supposed to be. There is more I am going to talk about. A lot of you where they here, when I feel no like me, if you abuse me, I don't care. But one thing I do is I say things the way I see them.